Hello, everybody. Welcome back to CV Freaks podcast. I'm your host, Eden Gray. And this is podcast episode 11 with my special guest today, Ned Rush in London. Hey, Ned.
Hello.
So,
how's it going?
Yeah, it's good, as good as it can be. So basically, Ned played at two of my events in London. The first one was 2017, I believe, at CV FREQS 6, was it? And you were doing visuals there?
In Wimbledon.
Yeah, at the Wimbledon Library. And I had, most memorable was Soulsby playing there with his partner as trademark, and Look Mum No Computer, who's now famous.
Oh yeah. He sort of went stratospheric after that. Suddenly he was in the hundreds of thousands of YouTube viewers and stuff. Yeah. And back then he was just sort of a kind of quirky nobody. now he's like globally famous. It's crazy.
Yeah, because he's so he's got so much spunk, and he's so energetic. I wish I had that energy, like, yeah, guys, so now I'm going to ride the synth bike all around London Bridge. And yeah, I loved watching that stream when he streamed that. Yeah, that was great. The synth bike is awesome. So, so you did visuals there, and then I had you play again at the House of Vans one. Yeah.
That was a good show. Yeah, that was a nice venue as well, sort of skate park.
I think that was
cafe / exhibition tunnel or something.
A really cool space, super unique. I think that was a year ago. Yeah, the last one, CV FREQS 12 you played at, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or maybe 2 years actually. Maybe 2 years.
Maybe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, because I had 3 there, one a year. So I'm having Ned as a guest today. I'm having you as a guest because you are going to help me with my first online event.
That's correct. Yes, we're going to host it together.
Yeah, which I really appreciate because I have no idea how to do this stuff at all. And you became an expert with your More Kicks Than Friends, which was a great series.
I don't know about an expert, but I was doing it regularly. So I guess about as expert as I can get. And I'm going to do another one soon, but it's a secret. So I'm not going to tell you when. But it's very soon.
Well, I can't wait. Anyways, you got some really good acts on there. I found some. I can't remember any of the names of them because there were so many, but yeah, there was a lot of good ones. And you had Oz.
Yeah, he was. I had him on twice actually, I think. And yeah, on the last show, I sort of just in a very kind of geeky, sort of slightly OCD way, went through like everyone and made a huge list of everyone to read out to say thank you. And it came to about 80 people, 80 acts.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like how did this all, yeah, I don't know. It all kind of whizzed by really, but when you kind of look back on it all and see it all as like a kind of total of all the people and like from everywhere, like all over the world, really. A lot of the world.
Did you ever do any events in real venues? I mean, not that the internet isn't a real venue, but like before.
Yeah, I mean, mostly in small venues locally. Nothing particularly big. I did do like one large event when I was quite young, but. Yeah, most small things, but I do really enjoy it. I like the programming part of it, programming like a lineup and a bill, and trying to think about how things can flow into each other or go off on tangents or whatever is quite nice. I've always quite fancied the idea of doing a festival in real life, but obviously that'll have to wait for the time being. But it's on my kind of bucket list, if that's the word, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love to do a festival, like a 3-day thing. Yeah, we'll team up on that in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, certainly.
Because let's see. So I got to play on your first one and your 14th one, and you had so many of them. Was the 14th one the last one?
No, the 20th was the last one.
Oh, okay. Wow, so many. It's crazy.
I'm pleased that you remember the second one that you did, because I can't. I remember you doing the first one, but I don't remember what number the second one was, because they all kind of just blur into one. For me, it's some sort of like strange dream I had.
That was fun. And I loved your interludes, the little elevator music between the sets. Yeah.
Yeah, on the Digitone, which is tucked under my desk at the moment. But...
Yeah. You know how many times I was after Oz to play in London at one of my events? I asked him a whole bunch of times. Then he moved to Edinburgh. I never got him to play at my... But that's cool that you got him to play at yours twice.
Yeah, I was very pleased that it was really great how sort of enthusiastic and easygoing everyone was. Because we were all stuck at home, so I guess that kind of helped. That gave people a lot of motivation to sort of go, let's do something, even though we're all stuck at home. Just because we can't go out doesn't mean we can't hang out, So
for those of you that don't know, we're talking about Oz from Expert Sleepers, and I just got the ES8 module, which I really like. It's really, and I sent Ned a question because I was like, this is really, really weird how you could send the CVs back from the computer and forth, and I'm still trying to sort it out. It's very interesting, and the way the CV pack works in live.
Yeah, that's probably the next move I'm going to make. I'm sort of quite happy with the way this is at the moment. I'm not in a huge rush to make any changes or anything, apart from maybe picking up one of those audio interfaces. I was thinking that I could maybe take say goodbye to my Rosie as my output module, and then pick up the ES9, which I heard from him. I emailed him, I wrote him a message, and I was like, so I can just use this as an output module by itself? And he was like, yeah, you just plug anything and it'll come out the headphones. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of means that if I'm not using it as an audio interface, then it can just be the final output stage out of the system to the speakers or whatever. So, I don't really know if I've got a huge amount of space for it. So maybe if I had to make a compromise, maybe the pressure points would go, because that's the only thing that doesn't get a huge amount of use and is about that size. Although I would be sad to see it go, because it's quite handy for like auditioning things, But I'm not quite ready to go down that rabbit hole yet. I think it would be so exciting to just bring Max MSP into the whole thing and be able to send extra things out of Max MSP via the ES9 into this or back again, Like I was thinking, it would be so great to sort of maybe take like a maths curve out that's going to something in the system, but mult it out into the computer to get it to control something in the visuals, like get an analog signal get something to make visuals go weird or something. I don't know. It would kind of be like, using it with Max MSP would kind of be like never really having to buy a new module ever again, because you could kind of just sort of make one, really. And also the functionality that's in Ableton as well with the CV tools and stuff would open up a lot of things, making everything even more hybrid, So but maybe not yet.
When I first saw your system, you had a lot more make noise stuff, I think.
There is probably mostly make noise stuff. So I'd say about half of it. So what do you want to do? Do you want me to go round the board or just point at the make noise things?
Okay, no, you can walk us through the whole thing. Okay, let's have a look. Go ahead.
Okay, so I won't move the camera because it might peg out. So it kind of goes kind of in a sort of zigzag fashion this way, and then everything ends up sort of here. So there's braids here, the Bacillus iteratus alter there, and
Very
then
good
next to that is the, I can't read it, I need my glasses. The Cinque de Furro, whatever that means, with their crazy Latin names for their modules. Which is like a sort of, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's kind of an offset module and a malt all at once. So if something's patched into it, you can attenuate signals. And I think you can also kind of mix multiple signals. I think you can take like 4 signals in, and if nothing's coming out, then they all kind of get mixed to number 4, and then you can adjust how much signal you want. Or if it's just one signal going in, then they get malted out the outputs, but with a level for each one. It's quite flexible and it's tiny. I think it's 4 HP. Yeah. So, and then there's like an IntelliGel Unity mixer, just a simple 3-in 1-out mixer. Then there's 3 distings, and then the MIDI breakout, disting MIDI breakout. Then there's an IntelliGel Triat, which is again a bit like the Cinque de Furro, just like a offset, like attenuated thing. But when nothing's plugged in, it just sends out a voltage. So it's quite nice, just as a sort of 3-knob controller type thing, just to control other things. Then there's the super disting, which has gone to sleep. Mm-hmm. There we go. I've woken it up now. So I just got this recently. I haven't explored it much at all, even though it's basically 2 distings in one, or like there's polyphonic sample playback on it, which is pretty amazing for a small thing like this. But you can fill it up with like hundreds and hundreds of long WAV files, and it will play them all back polyphonically. I don't know how many voices, but it's really cool. Then I got a Make Noise Mult here, so that's Make Noise module number 1. Then there's PAMs, an Optimix, Make Noise Optimix, Make Noise MMG, which is my filter, the Herb Verb. I'll go this way now. So Wogglebug, Maths, Morphogene, 4MS sampler, the ALM Tangle Quartet, which is like a small 4 VCA mixer. I was using Veils. I was using the Mutable Instruments Veils for a really long time. But then I saw this come out, which is pretty much the same thing, just without the, there's like a curve setting on Veils so that the VCA works either linear or exponentially. This doesn't have that, but it's much smaller. So I picked up 2 of those. There's another one there. Mm-hmm. So they're like, this is kind of the final mixer stage of the whole thing, and then this is a sub mixer, I suppose, as in I don't really use them as VCAs much. Well, as in I tend to just turn the knobs up and down for levels, really.
Sure. So how many mixers are there? 3?
Well, there are these 2 Tangle Quartets, and then there's this Unity, but that's not a VCA. That's just 3 signals summed to 1 output, and I think at Unity gain. I don't know if that means that it's just doing it intelligently in the circuit, so regardless of the level, that everything will come out at 0 or 1 or whatever. I don't know. But I just kind of use it just as a simple, like sometimes if I'm using the 3 distings and I want to get them down to 1 signal, I'll just patch the 3 of them into this, and then I'll get 1 signal out. So yeah, I mean, really, that's it for the Rosie, and in terms of levels, setting levels, the 2 quartets. Then there's the Mimeophone here, which is probably my new favorite thing. Mm-hmm. The 4MS dual looping delay, the Variegate 8, the voltage block, pressure points, rings, clouds.
So
clouds.
So how many sampling modules are there?
Well, I mean, including the distings as well, then there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So these are both samplers, and then the disting will do sample playback as well.
Yeah, the disting Mark IV. Yeah.
Yeah. So these, for a while, I was kind of just using them to trigger short one-shot like drum sounds. You know, I would just go to the algorithm where I knew that each kind of the SD card has got like one folder with kicks, and then another one with hats, another one with snares or whatever. I tried to do some stuff with drum loops for a bit, but it got a little bit, whilst it works really, really well, it got a little bit clunky to set up. This was kind of back when I was doing a lot more live shows than I am now. So I would use these for like one-shot drum sounds, and then the 4MS I would use for like longer things. Like I would sort of record like long jams into them, like jam noise drones or whatever, and then I would just sort of screw around with it and make textures out of it. But yeah, so there are 6 samplers technically. Well, as the disting can be 2, then there's 7. So
yeah, because you make a lot of music using samples, and you make your own sample banks, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll probably always start with samples in some way. I think I quite like taking a sample and inside out and upside down and trying to make it sound not like it sounds, you know. That's kind of always been my thing, really. So, you know, the Morphogene was kind of an obvious choice. The 4MS is really useful, but it's not too great on the micro level kind of granular side. It's better I find for sort of just getting in like long. I could probably show you something. So I did earlier on record something into it where what shall I do here? So earlier on I recorded a bit of Donald Trump having a bit of a moan on YouTube. Let's see. Is it going to do it? Oh, I got to come up on the mixer. Oh, that was actually something else. Where was the Donald Trump thing I got?
Dollars of negative advertisements against me during the campaign.
So if you like, you can put it into like loop mode, so it'll kind of just, the sample will just loop. And then generally what I kind of quite like to do is I'll take like some gates from something. Could just use these here. I'll take like some gates and go into like the reverse. So it just kind of like, they're random gates. They don't have to be random, but these ones are random. And it will just sort of just reverse the sample as it plays. And because they're random, it kind of does it in this very intermittent way, which is...
The media nice. That he was saying against us. We had that he was we had that he had that.
And then I could take like...
The media against us.
I got like... I set this up earlier. I was having a little jam earlier before we had this call. So I've got like another gate here going into the maths. And that's kind of slewing. It's slewing the gate. So if we do that into the... Let me just check I've got this right. If we do that into the volt per octave, then we can kind of get that sort of scrubbing sound.
We had a lot of...
Oh, nice.
Which is like quite fun, I think.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it's very unpredictable because the gates are random, you don't know when it's gonna reverse it. So sometimes it will get stuck on a certain part, and then when the random gates kind of go away, then it will kind of progress forward a little bit and then get stuck somewhere else. It's kind of having a scratch DJ in your modular.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Makes very strange possibilities with samples. You can never. I mean,
well, also I quite like that. I really like sort of like sampling reverb and stuff, because like reverb is, I think, generally something that we all think of as being quite linear, but when you kind of flip it around, it can be very like disorientating, because we kind of think about being in a big hall and making a clap sound and then hearing the clap like reverberate. But if you kind of capture that and like play it backwards or do that kind of thing, like you can't really hear it very well on that sample, but earlier on I could hear like the reverb in the room where he was speaking that was kind of getting pulled backwards and forwards. And it's kind of stuff like that I kind of enjoy. I guess that's kind of a music concrete thing of like, playing around with your perceptions of acoustic spaces and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever patched your own or made your own reverb patch in Maximus P?
I've tried to, yeah, but it's quite hard to make something that sounds good. The ones I've tried have come out not so great. But they've just added this new multi-channel technology into Max 8, which might make that a little bit easier. You kind of just have to use loads of comb filters and offset their delay times by a certain amount, and then it's kind of all to do with how you filter them before they go into the delay network, and how you filter them as they're in the delay network, like diffusion and stuff like that. So yeah, I have tried, but nothing I'm willing to boast about.
But you're a Maximus P extraordinaire, aren't you? It's really hard.
An enthusiast, I'd say.
Enthusiast, but you do some amazing stuff in there, and you gave the workshop on it, right? Or you are giving one?
I am, yeah. I'm giving lots of Max workshops at Music Hackspace in the next 4 weeks, the next month, December. So yeah, it's gonna be cool.
I'm still on.
And you've done one too.
Oh yes, I'm doing the one that's the same day as we're doing the online event. It's like a whole day extravaganza. Yeah. The soldering workshop, making the shack mat kits, which you can come in and hang out with us for a little bit. And shack mat, I'm so happy because I had invited them to the last London event. They couldn't make it, but now we're doing the online one, so that's really cool. And 2 of them will be there, helping with all the kits. So it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, cool.
And I've never seen him do a live set, so he said Francois of Shackmat is going to contribute a live set on our live stream, CV FREQS.
Oh, yeah, great. How exciting.
I like the Shackmat modules a lot. I love the names of them. So I just found out that Shackmat is like Belgian for checkmate, and that's why he uses all the names of the chess pieces. Checkmate.
Well, there you go. I'm going to have to look them up now. Okay, is that like, so they're all named after
chess pieces? Most of them.
How are you spelling that?
Shackmat?
Is it SH or SCH?
SHAKMAT. I got my super cool Shackmat poster from Super Booth the last time. Got it to stick up on my wall finally. I was like, you rolled up that poster so good that I couldn't get it to stick on my wall. He's like, oh yeah, just put some books on it. Just put books on it and then it'll stick. I was like, no, I didn't think of that. But yeah, it's a pretty cool poster. I think it would make a nice tattoo. Little skeleton chess piece. So his new module is the
Sorry, go on. No, you carry on. Sorry, I was going to ask the question.
Yeah, their new module is the four bricks rook, I think it's called. And yeah, I think that's the newest one.
So are they bought? Do you buy them pre-built, or you can build them yourself?
You
or
do
you only build them yourself?
No, yeah, you can do both, assembled or kits. And I like doing the kits. It's very soothing. It says, you know, very feels like you're putting some of your soul into the module. That's just me being a little new agey and silly, but you know, it's
Whatever brings you joy.
yeah. I mean, well, the electronics, they have their own life, you know. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, especially if you're doing it all like analog, I can imagine there's loads of capacity for things to go in all kinds of directions, either intentionally or unintentionally, which is quite nice. That you sort of you don't get with digital modules. I suppose they're all sort of pretty solid, which is good for some things, but they lack that mystery, I suppose, in that sense.
Yeah, I really liked how your music. It reminds me of. I was listening to it before our talk, just to refresh myself. But you know, it really reminds me a lot of Aphex Twin, and he's one of my favorites, and a lot of Square Pusher too. So you sample your own bass playing, right? Or is that guitar?
Well, I am at the moment, yeah. I mean, when I started getting into it, that was really what I wanted to do. Was I wanted to, like record my own playing and then screw around with it in that kind of very cut up way, that very sort of electroacoustic drum and bass kind of way, but with all my own sort of riffs and jams and stuff. And whilst I did it a bit to start with, I got completely distracted by everything to do with electronic music that I never really got around to doing any of it at all. And I was just like, I was like 20, 21 years old, and I got my sampler and my digital 8-track. And I was like, right, okay, now I'm going to do this. And then I started doing it. And then along the way, I was like, oh, what is this like weird thing? What is this? What's this thing you can do? And then, yeah, I just ended up going down all these rabbit holes and learning about all these different types of things, and sort of, I guess, probably like a lot of people, I'm certainly more a student of music than I am a musician. I'm always like interested to find out things or ways to develop what I know, whatever. And sometimes I'm doing that more than I am actually making any music. But right now I am working on something that is going to have loads and loads of like guitar, bass and drums in it, but all really kind of screwed around with, and like musical, but with lots of like, you know, granular tricks and trots in there, I suppose. So
yeah, your visuals are absolutely brilliant. They're just like weirdcore. I mean, you're practically Aphex Twin and weirdcore in the same person.
okay. Well, maybe. Thanks.
Well, I mean, yeah, understated, but not so much because you got a big following, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube subscribers, but YouTube is quite cruel, and as much as there are a lot of people subscribing, I don't know how many of them are coming back to watch stuff. You know, I think it's probably something to do with the YouTube algorithm, and also something to do with me not being very pushy in my videos the way that people are normally. You know, hey everyone, don't forget to smash that like button, blah 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 blah. Like, I don't really do that because I don't want, like, if you don't want to subscribe, I can't, you know, not motivated by getting subscribers. But at the same time, it is a little bit strange how, you know, you can have 25,000 subscribers and you put a video on and a week later it's only had 500 views. It's very sort of misleading. It's not really as many people as you think. I did read something on the internet that your viewership on YouTube is actually 14% of your total subscribers. So if you have 100 subscribers and you upload a video, 14 people are going to watch it.
Yeah, that's weird.
So it is weird. It's not. Yeah. So I guess there's a following there somewhere. I just don't always know how to get their attention. Maybe.
Well, I hope
So,
we have a good
yeah.
turnout for our first live one, and thank you for helping me with that. I really liked chatting with the people on your More Kicks Than Friends. They were some cool people in there.
Yeah, it started to get its own little kind of clique. In
Like
some
a
ways, there
momentum.
were, there were lots of the same people, and there were lots of the same jokes, and yeah, it started to feel like very nice. And I think if I do it again, I'll probably go a little bit more music television rather than online festival. I kind of I was actually one of the guys that was on More Kick and Friends was invited onto Flying Lotus's live stream on Twitch.
Oh wow!
So I was really, really excited, and I jumped in and watched some of it, and he actually played some of my videos on there. So he kind of did a bit of curation, really, as well as playing some of his own performances. He played other things by other people, and I was watching it, and it kind of reminded me of like MTV2 in like the early 2000s, when you'd watch MTV2 at about 11 at night, and they would play all the weird stuff. It kind of had that vibe about it, which I quite liked. And so, yeah, I think maybe if I do it again, I'll maybe ditch the online festival thing and maybe look at it as more like a kind of television show, like a kind of late night alternative television show from decades ago or something like that. That might be the kind of tone of voice or aesthetic I might try and take with it. I don't know. We'll see. I may never do it again. I don't know, but we'll see.
Sure, you had a great hosting personality, and I love the sense of humor as well, like the British sense of humor.
The British sense of humor.
Yeah, it's very sarcastic. It's very, very funny. Like
I definitely can be quite sarcastic sometimes. That's true. Yeah.
Well, your album says, "Don't buy these checks; they're rubbish." Like that's very humble of you. Well, you're basically.
Which album did I put that on? Did I put that on Bandcamp?
Yeah.
Was that on? Oh, yeah.
It's funny.
Okay.
So, thanks for showing us your system.
No worries. I mean, I wasn't really too sure what to do, so I did. Well, I made a kick drum on the super disting, which I think should be just here. I think. Yeah. I don't know if that's coming through very nicely. I'll turn my. That's the super disting in dual disting mode. So on one side it's the oscillator, and then the other side it's attack release envelope and a VCA in one algorithm, which is really useful. So you can run the audio into it, and the audio will get tweaked by the VCA, but it also sends out the curve from the envelope. So I've run that back into the oscillator on the FM to do the sweep. So you can kind of make a fairly decent kick drum on the super disting. But the one thing that I was fiddling around with before we had the call was this thing with the mimeophone, which is, it's basically just Pamela's new workout and the mimeophone. So it's all so there's like some triggers with like about a 50% skip on the triggers, and then the rest of it's all just random voltages, and it's the trigger is just triggering the mimeophone. There's no audio. It's kind of doing like a string modeling type thing, and it kind of came out all right. It's quite fun.
Is that two outputs?
So it's kind of, what's that, sorry?
Two outputs from Pam's going in there?
Well, so everything that's coming out of Pam's here is going into the Mimeo. So there's like one random voltage for the delay time. There's another there's a random gate for the hold, so it'll just kind of freeze the delay intermittently, and then one for the flip, which is when it freezes, it might play it backwards. The 4MS delay does pretty much exactly the same thing, but this one is really nice when it's clocked. So if you want to do more time relative delays, this is really, really great. But for this is a little bit more kind of pliable and elastic and more like a kind of dub echo. Like the delays are really wibbly wobbly and so it's quite nice to sort of mess around with that. But yeah, I haven't worked out a way to kind of tune it yet. But yeah, so that's kind of pretty much it. And then there's an LFO going into the color which filters the echoes as they go back into themselves. And it's just a sort of, it's very, get kind of like that Auteca kind of string sound that they do.
Sweet. There's your Auteca track.
So, yeah, so I'll just record 20 hours of that and send that to Warp and tell them it's the new Auteca album.
Yeah, I do wonder if they used any hardware, because I think they were only doing software stuff, but I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I don't know that much either. I mean, I kind of found out about Max MSP because of Auteca, but I've never been hugely nerdy about them enough to care what they're doing or what they're using. I'm happy to just sort of listen to it, compared to like other people where I'm a bit nerdy about Square Pusher, so I'm like, what equipment did he use to make this or whatever. But for some other people, I'm like, I don't really care. And for them, certainly, I don't really. I think there was someone in our vast modular community that I'm sure we both know, that we're both friends with, who posted something that they sold them some modules or something. They were working in a shop and they sold them some things. So they've probably gone down the rabbit hole by now, as most of us have.
Of course. They probably got a whole room of stuff.
Yeah, I did. Whilst I think a lot of their stuff in the 2000s was a lot done in software, I do remember reading an interview in The Wire with them, I think, in the last 10 years, where they said, yeah, we kind of went back to boxes. And they did release that syntax file for the My Machine or something that was floating around the internet about 5 years ago. That was just, I think it was basically a project file that they used on one of their tours or something. So I think they're probably dashing about all over the place in terms of equipment or whatever. But yeah, otherwise I've no idea.
Yeah, well, you're in the same category as them, being a British male. So I'm really happy to. It's like you could be a carbon copy of, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I could be like I could be like Auteca's Behringer, maybe. Like.
Oh yeah, well, but I don't like Behringer right now. No, we're supposed to not talk about things we don't like, right? Yeah.
Yes, no, we did agree on that. We did.
Nope, nobody likes Behringer right now.
No,
sure.
Until everyone buys all their synths, and then everyone likes them.
Well, stealing is not good. Stealing is bad, and that's what we're talking.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is that like they put something out and everyone goes, "Oh God," and then they all buy it. So it's like, well, what? You're not gonna like. If you don't like them, stop buying their stuff. Why does everyone keep buying their stuff? It's like, it's the same thing with Grand Theft Auto Online. Every time Grand Theft Auto Online releases a new update, everyone goes, stop making updates. And then they download the update and play the game. And what do you expect? If you keep doing the stuff, they're gonna keep doing their thing. You gotta. Sorry.
Yeah, I only had bought some Behringer monitors once, but I had no idea they were controversial back then, and that was all the way back in 2015. I got the Truths. They were pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, I've got one of their DI boxes in my drawer. So,
yeah. I wish they would just stick to that stuff and stop with the stealing of designs.
Yeah, well,
Oh well.
we'll just have to see, won't we? We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's all good. So, anything more positive on a positive note? Well, I'm excited for our online festival. So we got. Oh, and I should also mention that you're going to be on our first record. We got a track, which is very good. And sorry it's taking so long for the record.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I honestly forgot about that.
Yeah, I was really hyped in the summer because I was like, oh, we're gonna get this record, and because we have nothing else to do, so send me the track, and then I was like, oh, we gotta get the mastering, we gotta get the artwork, and it's just a lot of little details to sort out, but the artwork looks great. I've got BR Laser sent me a few stills of his amazing visuals that he does. You know BR Laser?
Oh well. No, not at all. I look
He's
forward to
awesome.
seeing it, though. I'm very out of the loop. Yeah.
So you're going to be on the first record compilation, BR Laser, a bunch of others. Lula is playing as well. She's got a live set she's contributing for our live event. I'm doing this thing where I'm right now focusing on artists we've already booked in the past events. So when we're going to do new events, new CV Freqs events, we'll get new people on. But right now I'm just, there were so many great ones, through the years. And, so diverse in styles, which I love. And I love that you did that too with More Kicks Than Friends. You were like, anything goes kind of thing. Like, it could be noise, it could be experimental, it could be any jams. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's good to keep everything quite sort of diverse and eclectic.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have quite easily done 6-hour live streams of psychedelic trance, but I don't really know if that, I think it's good to just mix it all up a bit, and turn heads and stuff like that. And, because also I find it kind of keeps people engaged a little bit, because if you it comes to an end and then there's a little break and then something else starts and it's completely different, people kind of go, whoa, what's this? This is kind of completely different from what I was watching 5 minutes ago. And I think the kind of psychology there is that they're sort of so surprised that it keeps them engaged and they want to see it through, which is kind of what I've always enjoyed about being at festivals, is that, you catch things, or you go to watch someone and you catch the last 15 minutes of someone else and they're not what you were expecting, or you'd never heard of them. And, it's all about those little moments,
Yeah.
That, yeah.
One of the artists who's going to play Quentin Leonetti, he's putting together an online festival on the 28th, and I've got a set included on that. And I've never heard of any of the others, and he's also in Belgium, so I'm really excited to hear some new stuff there. It's more of an art form, these kind of, random curations of people who use this gear because we all use it so differently. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Sounds very interesting. Yeah.
So his one's called the Vemom Fest, VEMOM, and well, I put the link on the website, so on the CV Freqs website, I put the link to his one, and that's on Saturday. This Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of went. I kind of went really industrial noise for this one, but it reflects your moods. Did something really ambient last week with sending the vocal sample from one of my new biggest fans. Sent me a a recording of his reading, and I sent it through the ES8 to filter it, and I'm still trying to figure out how to record it. Like I was doing like that one little clip I sent you of my son on the on the filter that sounded really funny. Remember?
Yeah. So what, you're trying to record it back from the ES8 into the computer?
Yes. Yeah. So it goes from the computer to the through the ES8 to the filter. Then I want to record what I'm doing with the filter into the computer, and I've managed to work it out once, but I have to figure it out again.
Yeah, I'd imagine that probably it goes in the. I don't know what the inputs and outputs are on the ES8, but I guess you would go in. You would just use it as your. Say if you were using Ableton, you would just use it as the audio interface in and out in Ableton, and then whatever tracks are available, I'm guessing would be there. And you could probably, because in Ableton, when you got something going in on the inputs, you can monitor it from the little IO drop down menu. You know, like where you go to choose what input you want. There's a tiny little fader, not a fader, a meter next to the input, and you can monitor what's coming in. So, but yeah, yes, I'm very tempted by those Expert Sleepers audio interfaces. I think it would kind of, wouldn't really need anything else. I don't think anyone's going to put another audio interface out like that anytime soon. So
yeah, it's really interesting. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is just, I don't know, because I have this very small interface, which I was like, oh no, I was using the Motu for a long time, which had 8, so I could put my modular in on 8 different channels if I want. But then I'm now using the Scarlett, which only has 2, so I was like, well, I need more. And now this one has it's, I guess, 16 outs. So that's what it says on live anyways, but you know, the module itself has 8, so I guess it's double. Just like he's always going in and doing such intricate things with these modules. There's a lot to take in, like the disting. I can't ever get my head around the disting.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of gotten used to it now, but I sort of tend to use it for the same things. So if I want to do like any FM stuff, if I want to do like an FM patch, I'll use those because I don't really have any other sine waves anywhere. And here I've got 3, well, I've got 5 now. But I had 3 Mark IIIs and they were quite difficult to use. These are much easier, but I am considering maybe swapping 2 out and buying another super disting and having 2 super distings, because it's basically the same. It's the same level of functionality plus more.
Sure.
But I think the one thing that I think would be really interesting, and I could probably do it. I could probably do it anyway with what I have. But I think the interesting thing about using something like the ES8 or the ES9 is kind of silently recording CV signals in as samples at like a very, very high sample rate, and then chopping them up like you would a sample, and then sending them back as CV to something and seeing what comes out then. That sounds like pretty interesting to me. I don't know if I could maybe do it with the 4MS. I'm pretty sure the disting would do it because the disting's got DC coupled inputs and outputs as well. So I think you could probably record CV stuff to the SD card and then screw around with it, change the pitch, change the transposition, change the sample offset or something in the way that you would with a sample, but it's CV, and then send that out to your synth or your filter or something and see what it does. That's like a fun, weird idea.
That reminds me of one conversation I had at Super Booth where I'm, walking around asking people about the modules, and I found this Flame booth. They're German Flame modules, and he was showing me the CV recorder. It has these little tiny buttons, and he was explaining it to me for like 20 minutes. I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's a CV recorder. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if that could be pretty good if you've come up with like a really, really nice sequence, say on an analog sequencer, which is probably going to screw up anytime soon because one tiny little nudge and it's gone. You can't go back. Then having something like that, it kind of makes sense. You just record the CV, and then if you can kind of work something out where you can start and stop recording on the beat, then you've kind of got it as a loop, I mean, I was thinking for I'm probably not going to do this now because I'm not so interested in doing stuff with drum loops on here as I was, but I did toy with the idea of maybe making drum loops in the computer where on the left hand side it's the drum loop and on the right hand side it's just 16 note triggers. So if you load it into a stereo sampler like this, you could get a clock from the loop, to drive something else. So yeah, there are all of these kind of like, I think, slightly off the radar ideas that can open things up a little bit. But I guess that's really if you're into doing stuff with audio samples and with recording samples or whatever, and not everyone is, but yeah, I mean, for me, I'm kind of like, I'm not too precious about what I make on here. If I make something and I'm kind of like, what have I just made? Then I'll quickly record like 5-10 minutes of it, and then it kind of gets buried in a hard drive. But for me, I'm kind of not particularly precious about what I make. I don't make anything on it with the intention of like being able to recreate it. For me, it's more kind of just like a distraction, about finding things, like a bit of a playground. I'm making like samples, I like to make long drones with it and then put them into Ableton or put them back into here and screw around with them. I did like a sample pack on it this year, which is on my Gumroad, called Shards, which is a one shot. It's mostly one shots, but it was pretty much all mimeophone things, just one shots with these like incredibly long kind of evolving echoes that kind of break up and scream and stuff as they decay and things like that. But yeah, in terms of like storage, it doesn't really bother me. Like the idea of sort of saving things, I'm not really that fussed. I'm happy just to sort of like turn it on and be like, I don't know what kind of state it's in. It's fine. So, but for some people, maybe they might want that, that reliability of knowing this is pattern 3. That's my song or something.
Yeah, I don't even save things in PAMs. Do you?
Well, I thought I did, and then I turned it on today, and they were gone. So, so I've no idea. But I did have 2 things saved on it. One was every single track is the random waveform, and then the second one was every single track is a trigger with a 50% skip, and I would just kind of bounce between those 2. And then maybe a third preset was the top row was random LFOs and the bottom row was random triggers, because that's really all I bought it for, was for the kind of random, the clocked randomness, really. Haven't tried the quantizer yet, but that's a very, very nice addition. I think 8 quantizers.
I love it.
Like, so good.
Yeah, and the the one that's not, I guess it's not super new, but it was new to me because it was the first time I ever updated the firmware, and I was like, oh, success, I did the firmware, I'm so smart. No, it's it's kind of, it's a little bit tricky, and you're like, but it's not really hard to do it. I just never did it because I was lazy, or I don't know, didn't really think about it. But it was new to me, the chords, the scales. It wasn't on the newest firmware.
Is there been another firmware, or maybe I'm a few firmwares behind or something?
There was a new one a few months ago.
Oh, really? I know that the one I have doesn't have the logic on it, so there's no or logic or and logic. So maybe I'm a bit behind then.
Yeah, you need to get there's a really nice it's a semi-random, it's called, and it goes, it's just weird. It's fun because instead of doing the random squares, it goes in curves.
Ah, okay. Yes, that's nice.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
interesting.
Oh, I should definitely get it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, you know, taking the panel off and then going USB around the back is kind of a hassle. Like to me, it's more straightforward in terms of how you actually put the firmware on there. It's a bit more inconvenient. Like with like the clouds, you kind of you have to play an audio file into it. And like, whilst it's a little bit intimidating, because if you get it wrong, you can screw it up. It's quite convenient. You just put it on your phone. You just go to the website and click the link and it's there on your phone. You just plug your phone in and it's done. But yeah, I put off updating the Varigate for a really long time for the same reason, because I was just like, I can't be bothered to take it off and plug a USB cable in. But it's only 10 minutes work, 15 minutes work. So it's just, it's just, on my part, it's definitely laziness.
Well, that's fun. I think I think we've been rambling long enough. What do you think?
But yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you so much for for everything, for helping me with the event upcoming, and for playing at my events before, for being involved in the compilation, and for for your sample packs, because I'm saving those for a rainy day, and I'm going to make a whole tune with your samples, or maybe a few, and then you can hear a little bit of your own stuff in my stuff. It'll just be cool.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Great. Yeah, thank you for inviting me on, and I'm very much looking forward to us doing this again and listening to some music in a few weeks. Must be about 2 weeks. No, in a week.
Yeah, a week and a half. Yep, it's really soon
yeah,
now.
Okay.
So I think everybody who's signed up for the workshop is probably signed up, but by now, because I'm still waiting for our kits. They're coming all the way from Belgium. I hope it gets here.
Yeah.
Or else we'll be in trouble.
How many kits did you buy for?
I got 2. I got the Knight's Gallop. One for me and my partner, who's actually the expert solderer. I'm not that much of an expert, but I'm the host, the workshop host. But I know how to do it, but I'm not like a super expert. I know how to put the tips. I'm not scared of it anymore. But I remember when I first started soldering back in 2014, I was really scared. So there's no reason to be scared of soldering.
Well, you can if you get it wrong, you can just take it off, can't you? You just melt it and then it comes off.
Yeah, but you can always build it and then it won't work, and that's the scary part. Or if you do something.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, if you've spent a lot of money on a kit and you screw it up, because
everything.
I'm not quite ready for that.
Everything I've built works. When I first did the Rebel Technology Stoichia with the Music Hackspace workshop back in 2015, and I took it to his workshop space, I'm like, but it lights up, but I can't really see if it's doing anything. And he's like, oh, you didn't solder that part. I was like, oh, oops. So it happens.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but then it worked.
Yeah, well, I imagine there's a lot of trial and error, or a lot of you have to kind of be open to it going wrong and not getting too disheartened when it does, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to close out for now. So thanks, Ned, again. And we look forward to hearing more stuff from you, and see you on the 5th. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, bye, everybody. Bye.